DrBoyceTV.com, the home for intelligent Black people. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. Today, we're going to talk about 50 Cent and Diddy. There apparently was a statement that 50 Cent made in an article about Diddy's little situation that I think provides an interesting financial lesson. And also, there are some economic implications of Diddy's lawsuits, things like that. So, as the finance guy, I'm going to pop in here and kind of give you some breakdowns, let you know what I'm seeing, and then figure out what lessons you can extract if you are building a business, or especially if you're a Black man who likes to hang out with the ladies or the men. I ain't judging. Now, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. Give me a yes in the chat if you can hear me. Let me know you can hear me so my audio's good. And we're going to get started on drboycetv.com right now.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm, great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones who late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to co-sign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and I want to say what's up to everybody. Shout out the city you're from. Let me know what city you're from. In case you don't know, we live by the B1 philosophy. B1 means we are Black first. That does not mean we hate anybody. It just means we love ourselves. If you agree with Black love, type Black love in the chat. Let me know that you love yourselves. Let me know that you believe in Black excellence. Let me know if you believe that Black people can be the greatest people on the planet. Some of us have experienced our greatness more than others, but we all working. God ain't through with none of us yet. All right, so thank you, Gregory, Adventure Man. My name is Corey, Travis Allen, Larry B, Shantella, John Crook. So good to see everybody. Good morning. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, so hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe, and also don't forget this podcast is on Apple and Spotify. We had 1 million downloads last month, so thank you guys for supporting. If you'd like to follow, just look for my name on Spotify, Boyce Watkins. All right, so Diddy and 50 Cent apparently apparently they're not friends. I'm sure you can tell. Right now, it's really interesting because it seems to me that 50 Cent has a lot to say about Diddy's recent misfortunes, and it's kind of interesting to watch because Diddy is a guy who is deep in New York. He has a deep history in New York. 50 Cent is a New Yorker also. And let me tell you, I spend a lot of time around the New York guys, around some New York rappers, stuff like that. I never met Diddy, but I've met a lot of people who know Diddy. I never met 50 Cent. I know a lot of people who know 50 Cent. And most of that experience came back when I used to go on the Wendy Williams show a lot. And I love going down to New York. And the New Yorkers are interesting. I have so much respect for a lot of the people in New York because New Yorkers are they're just a different breed in the sense that New Yorkers tend to be tougher, smarter, more resourceful, more efficient. If you've never been to New York, or I know a lot of people who aren't from New York, like when I would go to Kentucky and I say, oh, I was in New York this week, they say, oh no, New York City, oh my gosh, those places in New York, they're going to and I had friends that really thought, like, if you go to New York, as soon as you get off the plane, somebody's going to kill you. And the funny thing was, one time we did an event in New York. We did an event in Brooklyn, and it was actually sold out. So thank you to everybody in Brooklyn. I love you. I appreciate your support. And my assistant at the time was afraid of New York City. Like, she was from the South. She was scared to death. She thought about all these crazy things that would happen. And I kid you not, when she was moving into her, getting her stuff, unpacking it to go into the Airbnb, somebody got shot in the head right on the corner that she was unpacking her car. I kid you not. Literally, somebody got shot in the head right in front of her. So this completely filled every nightmarish expectation she had in New York. It was her first trip there. So shame on New York. Y'all need to stop doing that, scaring people, traumatizing people, because y'all know New York ain't that crazy most of the time. But that one day it was a little bit crazy. And just like every other city, you can have issues and chaos. Well, 50 Cent is interesting because 50 Cent is a guy who I follow from a long time. He's super smart, just like Diddy. They're both very smart men. They might be a little bit, a little bit strange in some of their behavior. Some of the things that they've been accused of, things that they've been involved with, have been a little bit odd. But they're smart guys. 50 Cent is also a guy who has endured some degree of violence and trauma in his life. Does anybody know? Anybody put it in the chat if you remember what 50 Cent's most famous line was, what his hook was? Anybody remember the gimmick that got 50 Cent put on the map? Anybody know what it was? It was one line. I'll give you a chance to type it in. I got shot 9 times, right? I got shot 9 times. And that was the big thing. That was the thing that put him out there. That was the thing that everybody remembered. And I thought that was a little bit sad, because here's the deal. Here's the reality, though. My wife is a therapist, and she specializes in trauma. And sometimes she sits with me when I talk to some of the rappers. Like when I sat and I talked to Kanye for all those hours, my wife got this sense that Kanye asked me to record the conversation and release it. I did not release the conversation because I said I'm not gonna just put on blast, every strange thing that I heard in that discussion. That's not for the public to hear. But she was listening, and we were all talking, and she said he's got a lot of trauma there. And there's a lot of undiagnosed trauma in hip hop, a lot of undiagnosed, untreated trauma. And we kind of just live off that. Like we kind of just feel like that story of the man who almost got murdered, or the man whose father died when he was 4, or you listen to DMX's story about his mama dropping him off at the orphanage and then never picking him up, like pretending like they were going to give Christmas gifts to the kids and then leaving them there. Just crazy things like that. And so honestly, my heart goes out to some of these guys because they've been through a lot. But I don't feel too sorry for them, because they're men, and they've also had some privileges and benefits that come from the fact that, now pay attention now, I need you to hear this, America loves to profit from the trauma imposed on Black people. They love it when Black people traumatize each other. They love it when we go through hell and then rap about it. They love hearing the hood story. I still remember when I was going to college and I would write essays, to get scholarships. And I remember somebody telling me, just tell them a terrible hood story. Talk about how your mama was 17 years old when you were born, and you were born in the projects, and talk about that time where this horrible thing happened to you. So effectively, America loves to make money from the trauma of Black people. Give me a yes if you follow what I'm saying. America loves to make money from Black people that go through hell. You go through hell, they go to financial heaven. And because we know hip hop has not really benefited the Black community, as Dr. Umar Johnson said, and I agree with him 100% on this. He said that in 50 years of hip hop, we haven't seen any infrastructure being built in the community. No Black-owned hospitals, no Black-owned grocery stores, no Black-owned banks. Nothing really coming out of this that really says hip hop was here and we benefited. It says hip hop was here and we suffered. Hip hop was here and we got rappers over the age of 35. Shout out to D1, one of my best friends. Shout out to him for calling it out. We got rappers, 35, 45-year-old rappers rapping about murder, drug dealing, going to prison, and all this other stuff. And this is not the job of men. The job of men is not to behave like a bastard. The job of a man is not to behave like a child. The job of a man is to guide and to lead his people and his children and those who look up to him to a place that's better than the place that they grew up in. So when you are a rapper, and this is the responsibility I put on any hip hop artist that will hear this, is that when you are a rapper and you're rapping and you have their attention unlike anybody else, well, that's power. And power should be used in a responsible way. And so here's the thing. I think 50 Cent's a brilliant guy. I think Diddy's a brilliant guy. I don't like the back and forth. I don't like the trolling. I think that Diddy, it's funny. Here's what makes me a hypocrite, to be honest with you. So sometimes it makes me laugh, right? Like 50 Cent put up this picture of R. Kelly's face blended with Diddy's face. I thought it was funny. I laughed when I saw it. I'm not gonna lie. I did laugh. Okay, so after I laugh and after we say, "Oh, that's a good one, good joke," 50, I want to see, okay, now show me the serious side. Let's talk about business. Let's talk about what you did in business and entertainment. But then also let's talk about it in a way that a person doesn't have to get shot 9 times in order to get those opportunities that you're talking about. You see, a lot of times the reason that economic advice from rappers or athletes does not apply to the average Black man in America is because most Black men in America don't get shot 9 times, so they can't go rap about it. They had the misfortune of having a regular life. Maybe they grew up in the suburbs. Maybe they God forbid had 2 parents that loved them. And oh Lord Jesus, wait, he had a good education too. Oh no, that's highly abnormal. That's a problem. Hey, maybe he actually had plenty of food in the refrigerator. He didn't starve to death. He never sold crack, and that's abnormal. They don't like that story. A Black man can't grow up and rap about how my life was actually good and my parents loved me and I wasn't traumatized. I had people around me that protected me. Nobody abandoned me. We never had to be homeless. Don't nobody want to hear that story about Black people. Everybody want to hear the damn hood story. And I think that that's where the table has to turn a little bit. That's where we got to start talking about, like, what does it mean to raise a black child in a healthy way, where he ain't got to get shot 9 times and he ain't got to do Diddy type shit, to be able to still be successful in this world. And this is white supremacy, y'all. This is what racism does. Racism puts us in a rat cage and makes us behave like rats. It puts us in the trap and makes us get happy about the trap. We even create a whole genre of music around it called trap music, like the trap. I'm from the trap. You ain't nobody because you ain't like me because I'm from the trap. At some point, you got to want to climb out of a trap. Do you understand what I'm saying? At some point, traps are not good for you. And actually, if you're black and you use words like freedom, how can you use the word freedom and trap in the same damn sentence? You ain't fighting for freedom. You're fighting to get back in the trap. You were born in the trap, raised in the trap, grew up in the trap, survived the trap, and now you still rapping about the trap. You living out in the suburbs, man. You got 10 million in the bank, and you still rapping about the trap. You ain't in the trap. You trying to keep your people in the trap. Seriously, you trying to keep your people in the trap. Like, really, I want y'all to process this. Some guy sitting out in Beverly Hills, surrounded by wealthy white folks, kids going to private school, is sitting around literally writing a song right now. There's some 42-year-old Negro writing a song in his Beverly Hills mansion with his butler serving him tea. And he's writing songs that are going to keep your son and your daughter in the trap. We want your daughter on the pole. We want your son on the corner. And that's where you're supposed to be because you ain't nothing but a black person. I vehemently disagree with that. I think that we should do better. All right. Anyway, do me a favor. Hit the thumbs up button. Thumbs up, share, subscribe. You're watching drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent black people. This podcast is on Spotify. A little bit later, I'm going to do a profit alert and talk about a stock that I like and explain why. If you'd like to receive a text when I do this profit alert, all you have to do is text the word stock to 31996. Text stock to 31996. I'm going to break it down for you and give you kind of a quick bullet point layout of why I think this company is a good long-term investment. We're going on a group trip to Egypt. All B1 people, we're going to Egypt next year. If you'd like to learn about that trip, also get on that list, and I will send you the information. Text stock to 31996. Jay Cameron is he's the Moses for our organization. We're partnering with Jay, and Jay is taking a massive group of B1 people over to Egypt so we can learn about who we are, learn about our history, and then Egypt ain't the only country we're going to, so don't worry about that. But here's the thing: you have to travel, you have to see the world, you got to get out here. You can't just stay in your city. So if you're interested in learning about this trip, we're going to do an informational session. I think today or tomorrow. I got to check with my team to find out the exact date. So just text the word stock to 31996, and I'll let you guys know when that's going to happen. Okay, so here's one thing that 50 Cent said about Diddy that I thought was really interesting. He mentioned that Diddy has, they asked him, they said, do you think that this is going to lead to Diddy's financial demise? Diddy said, 50 Cent said in an article, actually, he said, no, he said it's not going to lead to his demise because he has FU money. Now, if you remember, I mentioned FU money on the Breakfast Club a few years ago, and I was explaining FU money is when you can tell your boss, FU, I'm out, and you still are going to be fine. FU money is when you can say FU to the people that don't like you, when you can do what Elon Musk did the other day, where he got on stage at the New York Times Book Deal Summit and said all the advertisers that are trying to blackmail him can go F themselves, right? So FU money is very powerful. Everybody should have it. You should prepare your child to have it because at some point your child's going to grow up, have a job that they hate, deal with somebody they don't like, and you want them to be able to say F you instead of having to go back and turn to the person that is treating them the worst. See, that is also traumatic. Financial trauma is very real. That's why we created the Black Financial Therapy Department in the Black Business School, because our therapists have diagnosed that Black community undiagnosed, untreated trauma is the number one challenge that you're dealing with as a community. And that trauma is the reason that your wealth won't grow despite your many efforts to do so. Okay. Now, by the way, my wife, the therapist, her website is coachingwithdralicia.com. She meets with groups, couples, and families to help them to resolve their trauma issues and also help them to form healthy relationships and maintain them. Feel free to go take a look at her website, coachingwithdralicia.com. So I agree with 50 Cent to a point. Diddy does appear to have enough money that he can write big checks very quickly and get a lot of things done. However, one of the things that I would encourage you to consider is that there's never such an amount of money that a person has where they can't go broke. There's never a time where you have so much money that you can endure an endless stream of lawsuits, an endless stream of horrible publicity, an endless stream of assaults on your wealth. Even a Warren Buffett, if you sued him enough and you went after him enough, you could lead him to a place where he's bankrupt. A lot of it might depend on what your cash flow situation looks like, how diversified your business interests are. Also, it might come down to your spending habits, right? Diddy is a guy who is known for almost doing a Michael Jackson level spending. And if you recall, before Michael Jackson died, Michael needed $10 million a month just to get by. Like Michael was spending $10 million a month before he died. So Michael Jackson had to, he had to do a Muhammad Ali and go on that tour. Anybody remember that tour Michael was on where he was over 50 years old and trying to still do his dance moves, even though he was tired and all that? And, I was like, when is this going to end for him? When is this man going to be wealthy enough that he doesn't have to go on tour anymore? When can he be like Sir Paul McCartney and just sit back in a castle and chill for the rest of his life? So ultimately, if you're even no matter how much money you have, if you're not a good steward of those resources in terms of thinking about your spending, things like that, anybody can go broke. So I don't know if I agree with 50 completely that Diddy couldn't go broke. He did say that he thinks Diddy should declare bankruptcy. I think that might be a solution. I'm sure he's talking with his lawyers about it, because here's the thing. I don't think those lawsuits are going to end. I think that there's this is something I've talked about for years with my friends, that one day if the Me Too movement ever catches up with hip hop, it's going to be an absolute mess. If the Me Too movement ever goes back and does a forensic analysis of all the things that many rappers have done, they are in big trouble. In fact, there's a song. There was that song by 50 Cent. I'm not 50. I'm sorry. Let me take that back. I'm sorry, 50. It's Exhibit and Snoop Dogg. They did a song, Who Want to Get Involved With Us. I don't know if y'all remember that song, but let me see here. Let me see if I can find the lyrics. Hit the thumbs up button. Thumbs up, share, subscribe. If you haven't done that yet. All right. So let me see if I can find the lyrics of this song, because this song, I remember hearing this song like around 2002. And I was a young faculty member at Syracuse University and about maybe 31 years old. And I remember listening to the song and kind of being disturbed by the lyrics. And maybe the song was called Losing Your Mind. And I remember, let me see here. Let me see if I can find the verse that kind of concerned me a little bit. Not to say they did these things, right? Fat Joe went out and said that he lies in 90-something% of his lyrics or wwhatever. And I think that I don't, whatever. I think that is what it is. I personally think you shouldn't be snitching on records, right? I think you're stupid if you're stupid if you're out here committing crimes, but you're really stupid if you're snitching on yourself. I can't defend somebody who's dumb enough to snitch on themselves just so they can be on Vlad TV. I've been on Vlad TV several times. If I've ever done anything, if I've ever slanged dope, if Dr. Boyce ever murdered somebody, if Dr. Boyce was ever out here robbing banks, you ain't gonna hear it on Vlad TV, okay? Like you won't see me ever confess to any crime like that on Vlad TV, because I don't care about the clout. But anyway, let me here. So it says, here we go. It says, here's the verse. It says, "Back for more, watch me score." With what? With any whore that want to explore. With what? The ups, the downs, the ins and outs. Then what? Kicking that ass. D in your mouth. So what? Piss on your chest and put it on tape. Now what? Have all these bitches calling it rape. And what? Sicker than that. So pump your brakes. And what? Indict it, fight it, settle the case. Did y'all hear that verse? Did y'all hear that? And so again, it's let's just assume these are rappers just talking shit. Like whatever. They're just talking, right? Maybe. But this speaks to the not just the level of debauchery that hip hop kind of got to, right? Because we know some of these things did actually happen, right? These are allegations that are coming out consistently, but it speaks to the idea of tricking yourself into thinking that you can say and do whatever you want and not have any consequences for that, right? And also it speaks to the lack of strategy in terms of understanding that once you put that on a record, that record's going to be around for your great grandkids to hear. Like that's going to be around forever, right? And I can just tell you, just from a human decency standpoint, I don't know if any grandfather wants to explain to his granddaughter, who might have actually been a victim of sexual assault, why he felt that those were the lyrics he had to rap about. Because remember, that same verse about peeing on a woman's chest and taping it and then getting indicted, because of the things you did to her. Like, that verse could have easily been about how black boys need to read more books, or how black men need to work harder, or how we should love black women. Right? People have written verses about loving black women. I know that it was a long time ago and nobody believes that anymore, but there have been verses written about how wonderful and beautiful black women are. There have been verses written. KRS-One had a great song. Let's compare. Does anybody remember? Give me a yes if you remember KRS-One song, "You Must Learn." Anybody remember "You Must Learn" from KRS-One? The lyrics of that song, where he was literally, as brilliant as he is, teaching black history in a song. Like, it was so great. And I was learning, like, I was listening and looking at the images. Like, it was beautiful. Like he's saying, this African history should be pumped up steadily, but it's not. And this has got to stop. See spot, run, get spot. Insulting to a black mentality, a black way of life, or a jet black family. So I include one concern: you must learn. I believe that if your history filled with with straight up facts, no mystery, teach the student what needs to be taught, because black and white kids both take shorts. When one doesn't know about the other one's culture, ignorance swoops in like a vulture, because you don't know that you ain't just the janitor. No one told you about Benjamin Banneker, a brilliant black man that invented the almanac. Can't you see where KRS is coming at? With Eli Whitney, Holly Selassie, Graham Bill Woods make the walkie-talkie. Lewis Latterman improved on Edison. Charles Drew did a lot for medicine. Garrett Morgan made the traffic lights. Harriet Tubman freed the slaves at night. Madam C.J. Walker made a straightening comb. But you won't know this if you weren't shown. The point I'm getting at is it might be harsh because we're just walking around brainwashed. So what I'm saying is not a diss a man. We need the 89 school system, one that caters to a black return, because you must learn, right? So I didn't rap it. I rapped it terribly. But I read the lyrics because this shows you. So on one hand, pay attention now. This is what happened to hip hop in a 10-year period. One song comes out around 99, 2000. The other one came out around 89, 1990. In a 10-year period, you went from rapping black history and how important it is for black children to learn our history, to rapping about how you want to pee on a woman's chest, record it, get indicted for rape, and settle the case. And that's something that makes you proud. That's something that makes people look up to you. That's something that makes those white record label owners give you more money. They say, oh, that verse was great. Here's more money. This is where the money part comes in case you're wondering why a finance professor will be talking about hip hop. Because I'm not a finance professor who happens to be black. I'm a black man who happens to be a finance professor. So understand that. I need y'all to understand this. So the money is the motive. The money is the driver behind all this. The money's the driver. So Diddy was a guy who, to some extent, Diddy, as free as he thought he was, Diddy was living in the trap. Diddy was living in a trap, but Diddy became almost like AI. You know how they say AI is going to get so advanced that it can actually create its own realities. It can actually expand itself, right? That's the big fear. In case you're wondering why people think AI is going to cause the apocalypse, it's because the AI is already smart enough to improve on the AI. And then eventually at some point they may just build 10 billion AIs to replace human beings, right? This is what they're worried about. Okay. So Diddy is like AI to these white folks that run these record labels. And what I mean by that is this: a lot of powerful rappers a lot of them fit in this category. So on one hand, they say, we're going to take these Negroes and we're going to pay them money to rap about self-destruction. We're going to get them to rap about every terrible thing that they can do to their own people. We're going to get them to go out here and say all kinds of debaucherous shit that we would never pay Jewish people to rap about, or Asian people, because they're not that crazy. They're not that desperate. So then what happens is Diddy becomes a boss. And as a boss, you start to shift the culture, and you're shifting the culture in a certain way because your originators taught you that this is what people want. This is how you make your money. So Diddy then adds to the culture by, remember, Diddy is the one that shifted hip hop from the gangster rap to the whole shiny, glossy, flashy, getting money, type of culture, right? So Diddy, to some extent, is interesting because I don't think Diddy was really forced to do much of anything in terms of his personal life. I think that he just went for the extravagant because that's what paid the bills. I think the extravagant Diddy, the loud Diddy, the Diddy that talked a lot of shit, the Diddy that might have done some of these things he's being accused of, the Diddy that has this whole string of people that all seem to hate his guts because of whatever they experienced in Bad Boy. That Diddy was, in my view, a product of his own vision, which also came from the fact that there were economic incentives aligned with this vision. Do you understand this? Do you follow what I'm saying? I don't want to talk over anybody's head. I don't want to talk too fast. But really, you can build an economy around anything. You can build an economy around anything. You can build an economy around something that makes people healthy. You can build an economy around something that makes people sick. You can build an economy around something that helps people get free. You can build an economy around slavery. You can build an economy around things that are going to create strong families, and you can build a whole economy around things that are going to destroy families. Like so anything can have an economy around it. So Diddy participated in the creation of an economy that was built on horrifically problematic incentives for the black man to behave like a goddamn buffoon. Seriously, that's what it was. That's what it was. So then Aaron Hall, 15 years later, because apparently his opportunities are drying up, is sitting on Vlad TV, rapping, talking. He could be talking about anything. He could be talking about our community. He could be talking about how we need to respect our women. He could be talking about how we got to raise these kids better. He could be talking about we got to keep these kids from getting killed in the street. He could be talking about we got to get these brothers out of prison. No, what is Aaron talking about? My penis. My penis is so nice that me and Diddy used to have freak offs, and we would freak these women. And snitching on tape. You snitching. You up here. I'm not telling you that you can't love sex. Everybody does. Sex is not just a freaky thing people do. It's for the creation of human life. Nothing wrong with that. However, you're sitting. You are so desperate at the age of 85, whatever your age is. Maybe he looks old. Maybe he's like 40, 50. I don't know. But that literally you're sitting here. Vlad TV is sitting here making money, getting you to tell all your craziest stories. And if you don't conform, then Vlad ain't going to invite you back. So you behave like a monkey in a circus show. You try to be as outrageous as possible so that you can make sure that you secure your next appearance on Vlad TV. That's what it is. That's what they do. I mean, again, I'm not a rapper. I'm not a celebrity. But I've been on Vlad TV many, many times. And what happened, I will say that happened with Vlad. The reason I'm not on Vlad TV anymore is because they wanted to change my behavior. And I was like, I don't really know how to be anybody other than Boyce, and I don't feel comfortable being anybody other than Boyce. And so, eventually the friendship kind of wore off, or the relationship. And it wasn't even really a friendship. I talked to Vlad maybe twice. One time he and I talked about Damon Dash, and we were talking about, I mentioned something Damon and I were doing, and Vlad said, he called me to tell me that Damon Dash had openly attacked Harvey Weinstein in a restaurant and cussed him out in front of everybody. And at that time, Harvey Weinstein was not who we know him to be. Harvey Weinstein was a respected figure in Hollywood, and he sort of described it to kind of say that he felt Damon was a loose cannon, which Dame can be. Dame can be very energetic and et cetera, but he was right about Harvey Weinstein. He saw Harvey Weinstein for who he was and wasn't afraid to call it out before everybody else did. So shout out to Damon Dash for that. Shout out to that, him for that. All right. So anyway, I'm going to finish up on this Diddy thing in a second, but if you could, please do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. Also, I have a new book out. It's an Amazon bestseller. It is called The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. And so if you would like to get a copy of the book, you can either go to Amazon or Audible, or you can just go to drboycebooks.com. We have a family-owned business. Our middle child, our daughter, is the one who actually gets me to sign the books, and she ships them out. So if you want to guarantee her a job, feel free to go to drboycebooks.com. We'd appreciate your participation. We're trying to change the world one step at a time, and I believe that we're getting it done. I believe we are changing the culture. We have several YouTube channels. They have hundreds of thousands of views. We have millions of followers on different platforms. So even when they took away my Instagram page, they had 500,000 people. It didn't matter. We were still able to reach millions of black people. So they can't stop this train. So if you'd like to get a copy of the book, or to get a set of our financial flashcards for your kids Christmas, I encourage you to get them an economic gift, not just a toy. Toys go to waste. I encourage you to get them some, maybe a share of stock. Maybe buy them some CDs, savings bonds. Also, financial flashcards are going to give them a financial literacy level that's very, very high for their age. I'm a finance professor. I can help you with that part of the process. So you don't have to know everything to do this, but set that foundation for your kid so they're going to be successful. So if you'd like to go take a look at the stuff there, go to drboycebooks.com. And also as a special gift, you can use the coupon code Book Club. You can use our Book Club code, all one word, and get 30% off anything in the store. All right. So let me finish up with this Diddy thing. One other thing that I read about Diddy and his his lawsuit. And so I'm going to say this. I agree. I can't say that I necessarily condone all the trolling 50 Cent's doing. I'm not a fan of kicking somebody when they're down. I kind of feel like they have this thing that's been going way back. And I'm gonna tell you, like I said, in New York, everybody's smart. So many people are aggressive, and the people that rise to the top are become these interesting characters that are almost legendary. Diddy's one of them. 50 Cent's one of them. Al Sharpton's one. Al Sharpton, believe it or not, is a genius. I've sat next to Al for hours at a time, and he tells the best stories. I don't agree with him politically at all. I don't like his politics. I think his show's kind of corny. But let me just tell you, sitting next to Al, that man will tell the best stories. He remembers everybody's name. I was super impressed by that. He's a genius. I confirm that. Wendy Williams, another brilliant lady. I sat with her for many hours. I like Wendy a lot. Charlemagne the God. I met Charlemagne when I went on Wendy's show. Russell Simmons. I've worked with Russell on the incarceration campaign. These are all people that when you meet them, you can tell why they were the kings of New York or the queens of New York at some point. You could tell why they kind of rose to the top. Because in New York, you got to be tough and you got to be smart. You got to have balls. You got to have brains. And that's what makes you successful. So what is really the one economic lesson to learn from this, though, if you point out Diddy and 50 Cent, what's happened here is that you have two guys that were able to rise to the top of a very toxic culture, a very toxic environment, an environment that is that is built on tremendous amounts of trauma, right? Killing and all this other stuff. And the thing about that, and I don't know if these guys have therapists, but I think that some therapy would help both of them a lot because therapy, I think, would help them gain the sense of self necessary to understand the importance of their role as leaders in the world, right? To understand that, especially as you transition to becoming grandfathers or great grandfathers eventually, what are you going to do as the elder statesman? Right? Are you still going to sort of hold on to these 1990s gangster personas, or are you going to move into something that's a little more thoughtful, a little more constructive, something that's built on developing long-term infrastructure for the community? Not to say these guys aren't doing it. I think that they are on their own level, but I think more can be done. And I also think that the reason that getting treatment for that trauma in learning how to manage these relationships effectively can help as well is that if Diddy can do a lot by himself and 50 Cent can do a lot by themselves, I'd like to see what Diddy and 50 Cent could do working together. Like that's the thing that I think that we miss out on. Everybody spends so much time trying to be the king that nobody wants to create the committee, right? The committee will always be stronger than the king, right? Being the king means you killed off all the other great people that could have partnered with you, and now it's just you by yourself. Right. But a committee means you have multiple kings that all have their own territory, that all get together for a common purpose. And so I'd love to see one day 10 rappers get together and raise $10 billion and develop significant infrastructure for the Black community all across this country, almost as if they were a government. I would support that completely. I would love to be a free advisor to that. If you look at the amount of money Kanye West made in 1 year from Adidas, $200 million, that's enough. Literally, you could educate 100,000 Black people with that amount of money. You could build tons of schools and hire Black educators, right? And I think this is where hip hop can move more into its purpose. And I believe that one day that's going to happen. I just hope that it happens sooner rather than later. Now, one thing that Diddy is dealing with as well is Diageo, that Vic Baca brand that he represents. They're in court right now. A lot of times when you have these lawsuits, people smell blood in the water. So they're using the lawsuit as an opportunity, or the lawsuits, plural, as an opportunity to pretty much try to kill Diddy in court. So if you recall, Diddy was going through this back and forth with the brand about them not putting money behind his vodka the way they did with George Clooney. And y'all know my position. My position was, well, yeah, but you're not George Clooney. You're not white, right? And sometimes rappers forget. They think that they're white and whatever. No, you're not white, dude. Come on. Like, I'm not saying they should or shouldn't do it. I'm just saying that I was very surprised also that Diddy has the portrayal of being an owner and a boss, but he sounded a lot like an employee, right? He sounded like Colin Kaepernick 2.0, right? Colin Kaepernick was the guy who pretty much wanted the whole Black community to rally around him so he could get his job back, even though he settled his lawsuit and got the big payday and somehow lived under the illusion that the same company that you just sued for a ton of money that just paid you is going to want to bring you back into the fold and make themselves vulnerable to you. That's an illusion. Colin Kaepernick was never coming back to the NFL, even though Kaepernick was an extraordinarily good quarterback. If you go watch his old Super Bowl that he did, I think 2011, man, he played his butt off. He played his absolute ass off, and I have so much respect for that. But Colin Kaepernick, bro, you ain't playing in no NFL. You need to go to the Canadian League or whatever, right? He's probably getting too old right now. But anyway, so with Diddy, I was very surprised that he was going public to complain about how he was being treated on his job. That's what he sounded. He sounded like a UPS employee who's mad because his manager won't give him a promotion. And I just found that to be really strange because I thought Diddy was supposed to be this boss, right? You know, like, I'm a boss. And this speaks to a lot of the fact that hip hop, you know, a lot of rappers talk a lot of shit. That's what they do. They just talk. Right. And this is not, there's nothing solid about somebody who just talks about it and doesn't actually do it, you know, or is it, you know, can't be about it. And then now you're hearing rappers say, no, I really wasn't doing all that stuff. I was just talking. I was just making stuff up. I was just telling stories. Yeah, I get it. But unfortunately, your music has an influence on young people that does shape their choices. It's not anybody's fault. And you know, maybe if they had better, more stable families in the Black community, they could fight some of that, but they don't. There's a lot of poverty, a lot of kids that are lost, a lot of kids who are looking up to these rappers as father figures because their own daddy ain't in the house. And next thing you know, you done convinced some kid to go out and try Miley Percocet, and he done got 50 years in prison because he got high and murdered somebody when he was 17 years old. But you don't care because you're just trying to be an artist, or you claim to be, but you're really not an artist because, sorry guys. You're really not an artist because you're rapping whatever the corporation tells you to rap. So you're not an artist. You're a corporate pawn. That's what you are. You're not an artist. An artist expresses the whole range of human emotion. The artist expresses all the things that he's experiencing. The artist expresses all parts of his reality. If I can listen to your song and know that in your song, I'm probably going to hear about, in the video too, I'm going to see some big booty women. I'm going to see some liquor. I'm going to see some jewelry all over your wrist, all over your body, tattoos all over your body. I'm going to see a gun in the front seat of your Cadillac. I'm going to see all these signs of status symbols and luxury, Gucci and all this other stuff. Like, if I can predict that before I even hear your song, you're not really being an artist. You're not an artist at that point. You're kind of a clown. You're just a repetitive, redundant entertainer that pretty much is doing the same thing over and over again. Well, why are you doing that? Well, because the money's good, right? There's not a lot of money in consciousness. There's not a lot of money in Black liberation. There's not a lot of money in doing the right thing. There's not a lot of money in serving God, you know, which is why D1 is doing what he's doing. He's more of a Christian. I'm formally a Christian, but I don't go to church. So don't put me in that category. And I don't dislike it. I like my Christian friends. I like everything about the church for the most part, but I don't go to church. D1 though, yeah, he believes in a high power. D1 is driven by a type of fuel and energy that is purer than what you see in hip hop. You know, he is the disinfectant. His spirit is the disinfectant that's being sprayed on top of the fungus. So the hip hop is this cesspool of just disgusting, infected spirits, infected energy, just negative toxicity. And he's coming in with the Lysol. And when you spray the Lysol on the part of your body that's infected, what's going to happen? Ah! Ah! Right? So whenever you hear rappers screaming, ah! Ah! Getting mad, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. You ain't no. Don't talk about the boss. No, you don't. Right? That's him spraying the disinfectant. And the thing about D1, I know D. I've been knowing this guy for a long time. He ain't going to stop. He is not going to stop. So when I talk to D, I say, go, Black man, go. Do your thing. I'm in the back cheering for you. I'll be in the front, the side. I'll go to battle with you any day of the week because I know that you're made of something different from what these loud talking, fast talking Negroes are made of. You know, the studio gangster ain't got nothing on a guy like D1. He has a level of discipline and commitment that you don't have because you pretty much have spent your life as a domesticated house cat that's been being fed by the white man. The white man's been feeding you. So you don't know how to hunt. You don't know how to survive. You don't know how to really fight. You don't know how to maintain commitment to hardly anything. D1 is an artist who walked away from a deal with Cash Money Records, Lil Wayne's label, and was able to make millions of dollars independently. Do you understand how much intelligence you have to do that? Do you understand how smart you have to be as a businessman, as a human being, to literally buy yourself with no help? To just build, to do what he's done? I think it's extraordinary. I think it's amazing. I think that's the template that people should pay attention to. When I brought D into the Black Business School or into the All Black National Convention, that was why we did it. Because I said, this man is self-made. These other guys ain't self-made. They self-played. That's what they are. So anyway, I think Diddy is going to have some problems with this vodka brand because they mentioned accurately that his brand is a little bit toxic, and Diddy, I think, wanted them to give him part of their marketing budget to market their vodka. They said, we don't want him as the face of anything. I think the guys at Earn Your Leisure, who I love very much, I respect them immensely, they're going to have some problems because I think they're deeply connected to Diddy. I know he was at the Invest Fest and all that, but I think they're going to survive. I think they're going to be fine. They're going to keep moving. It seems like they have a lot of challenges. I know that they had the whole issue with Robert Smith and his whole indictment or whatever. So I don't know. I personally think that you have to be really careful when leaning heavily on the rap community, because pretty much every rapper over, say, the age of 35 who's been in that sort of gangster rapish space is very vulnerable to lawsuits, because the court system is not going to take well to somebody telling stories about some of the things that you allegedly did as you were trying to fit into what is clearly an unhealthy culture. It is clearly anti-family. It's clearly anti-Black. It's clearly anti-safety, right? Being a rapper is one of the most dangerous professions you can have. Rappers get shot all the time. I talked to a young rapper, Jay Ortiz. Jay Ortiz is a rapper out of Philadelphia, and he was friends with the brother that got shot in L.A. in the Denny's. I don't have his name in front of me, and they were really good friends. They were very, very close, and we had an honest discussion about, do you really want to go into this profession? I said, I care about you, man. I don't want to see you blow up and then get all the attention that comes with blowing up, and then end up being a victim when somebody comes and decides they want to hurt you, because that's what the energy is. The energy is a very toxic, jealous sort of energy, and I don't think that that's healthy for anybody. And so I don't really, just like they used to have that song, "Mama, don't let your babies grow up to be cowboys." I think we should have a song that says, "Mama, don't let your baby grow up to be rappers." All these Black boys want to be rappers, but I don't think they understand what they're signing up for. It is not a healthy space, man. It's not. And so God bless anybody that's out there, man. I wish you the best. All right. So anyway, I'm out of here. I'm done talking. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. We have a social media platform that is run by B1 people called B1 Nation, b1nation.us. If you'd like to join us and connect and relate to other people that want what's better for the world and want to build families and want to be educated, go to b1nation.us. I'm not going to rebuild everything on Instagram. I do have an Instagram page, Dr. Boyce Finance. That's going to be there, but I'm not sending people to Instagram anymore since they killed our last page. They just killed 500,000 people. Didn't give us any explanation. Didn't let us know what's going on. But it's okay. We've got millions on other platforms, so don't worry about us. But if you'd like to follow, just join b1nation.us. And then also on B1 Nation, I'm going to teach a class, a 30-day financial consciousness class. It's built on my book, 30 Days to Black Wealth and Power. Right now, it's sold out. Right now, if you go to drboycebooks.com, you won't see any copies of the book because it is sold out. But we are getting some more copies. And so if you'd like to be texted and notified when we get more copies in place, just text the word stock to 31996. So with the class, the normal fee for the 30-day class is $299. But the first 100, or actually, we already have 100 people. So we'll do this for the first 200 people. You can actually get in free if you just buy a copy of the book. But you need the book because it's a reflective journal. And what we're going to do is we're going to spend 30 days forming a new habit. They say it takes 30 days to form a new habit. So I want to help you form new financial habits. So every morning at 10 a.m. Eastern, we're going to meet on B1 Nation, and we're going to go through a 30-minute financial lesson. I'm going to break it down, and we're going to do a financial reflection. At the end of the 30 days, your mind will be elevated when it comes to your finances. Your economic awareness will grow, and we're going to go into 2024 with a bang. So if you'd like to go and join, or first of all, you can go to drboycebooks.com to take a look at all the books and stuff we have. That's where the book will be. But also, like I said, we just sold out, so we're going to get some more in stock. Text the word stock to 31996, and I'll send you a notification. Just text stock to 31996, and don't forget this podcast is on Spotify. Okay, guys, and by the way, a little bit later on today, I'm going to go to the Black Financial Channel, theblackfinancialchannel.com, and I'm going to do a profit alert on a stock that I really like, and I'm going to break it down for you in a sort of a separate video. So if you'd like to get that profit alert, also, if you get on the text list, text stock to 31996, I'll text you when we go live, and you can join me as we sort of analyze that stock. No more talk about Diddy and 50 Cent. We're going to talk about this stock, and I think it's a good long-term investment that my family is about to invest in as well. So take care. God bless you guys. Happy Wednesday, whatever today is, and I'll see you soon. Take care. Peace.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones who late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to cosign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.